Well, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview and having this promo day you're having. How has your summer been?
My summer,
Yeah.
we played many festivals so far and lots of traveling, which was not easy because things changed a little since Corona, and it became really difficult for the bands to fly with equipment and takes much more time. So it's more intense, I can say.
I noticed in Finnish festivals, at least, there were a lot of bands who lost their gear and luggage and so on. Did that
Yeah,
happen
it's
to you guys
terrible.
as well?
So far, we didn't lose luggage because most of the time we arranged trucks going to the destination, so we could only fly with hand luggage and stuff. But now this weekend we had a trip to Spain and Romania, and we had the gear with us. And so one little trip took us 17 hours, and that is not nice.
I can only imagine, especially when you're still inside of Europe. You
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're here to talk about your upcoming album, The God Machine, and it's the first like full band album you're releasing in quite some time, if you obviously count out the orchestral
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
So how does it feel to have a like release like this again lined up?
Yeah, it feels great. We were waiting for this for a long time, and if it was not for Corona, this album would be there earlier. Um, but of course, we lost some time, and we feel a little bit sorry for the fans to wait so long. That was not expected even by us. But okay, in the end, this album gained a little bit from the more time we had, because usually we are always in a hurry. You write the songs, you are barely ready with the songwriting, you have to be in the studio, the tour is booked already, so everything has to be in time, and the songs sometimes suffer a little bit from this being worked out during the production. This time we knew, okay, there wouldn't be a tour, we would have more time, so we said, okay, let's do demo tapes and stuff, and work a little bit more on the songs. And I think that that was a real advantage with this album. So this complex music could grow a little bit more, and now it's, for me at least, it's more smooth to listen to the full album, and more easy to get in, I think, for the people, and that's a big advantage. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's well worth the wait for the fans as well. So I
Yeah.
don't think anyone will be angry that it took you so long. Yeah, anyhow, the first thing that I noticed while listening to the album is that it's sort of it feels like you went maybe back to your roots but kept it kind of modern, and it sounds altogether very refreshed. So I was wondering whether you had a lot of discussions about what direction you would be heading in after like Legacy of the Dark Lands, which was, with the full orchestra.
Well, we started songwriting right after the tour in end of 17 already, I think, and just collected ideas. We left everything open, because in the beginning we don't want to limit ourselves to a certain direction. We just see what ideas we have and work with this. So I think in the beginning we were working with American Gods and Architects of Doom. Um, and then we did a break with the songwriting because we had to focus, or we wanted to focus, on Legacy of the Dark Lands. And when this was done, it was so intense to work with the orchestra and these extraordinary arrangements that for me it felt natural to really do something else and to feel the metal band again, the brutality, the speed. And so naturally we wrote the first one or two speedy songs. And when we played in Wacken Worldwide, the digital show, and we played Violent Shadows, we had an amazing feedback for this song, and we thought, okay, seems that people like what we are doing. And then short after this, oh no, not short after this, before this already, Corona started. And I think that is a key point, because at that moment, for me, my whole surrounding and the world changed. It felt more tough, almost that we switched to a kind of survival mode. We had to become tougher, harder. Everything seemed a little bit in chaos, and for me, it felt authentic to write harder and more brutal music at that moment. And so I think that this album really catches the time spirit, the moment, how we feel right now. And that's what always is in our music from all the old albums. That was a really big part of sense in the music. And yeah, this more speedy album feels natural for us. But on the other hand, we never planned to do a retro album or copy the old days. For us, it was getting the energy that we had when we started as a metal band, this pure energy, but with the knowledge we have now. And I mean, we grew as a band, as componists. We wanted to transfer the speed metal into the time 2021, 2022. So it had to sound more modern, and it had to be a little bit more tricky from the arrangements, and that's what we did. So if I don't like just to look back and have a dusty 80s song. That wouldn't work for me, not at all. So yeah, I think what we did now is how speed metal has to sound right now, and this is how it can be interesting for the new generation of metal fans. If you have now a 16-year-old guy or 20-year-old guy, that could catch their attention much more than an original 80s song, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking with Michael Stanne the other day, and he mentioned that if you listen back to the older albums, then he thinks his own production sucks, basically. Is that the same thing with you when you look back to your older material? Are you like, oh, this wouldn't sound so good anymore?
I always leave the productions in the time they were made. And I think I know that we always were in the limit of possibilities we had. And so I don't regret doing anything. I think these albums are all great for the time they were done. Of course, with my knowledge as a composer, I would arrange maybe a little bit different nowadays. But on the other hand, I like this naivety of the first albums. It has something pure, something original, and that spirit of the time. And I love that. I don't want to destroy this with knowledge. It's sometimes just good to leave it like it was.
Now, it was also mentioned in a statement that it was sort of a new chapter for you guys. Is that also how you see this album?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we wanted to get somewhere else. That was clear. We wanted to define a new Blind Guardian sound, so to say, because At the Edge of Time and Beyond the Red Mirror were pretty close together. I see that as one chapter. And after this, for me, everything was set in this direction. It was the peak, and we need to close a chapter and start a new one from time to time. And we felt it was the right time to do this. So we were talking a lot with Charlie, how we could make the new album make it sound completely different. And Charlie said, okay, if you want different results, then you need to make sure you change everything from the very beginning. So we changed already the way we recorded drums. I changed my guitar sound completely. And all these details together we found a new guy to mix the album, and all this together made it possible to have a different outcome and really something that makes clear, okay, a new chapter starts. Even with the artwork, we went this step. After musical wise, it was clear that this sounds really different. We said, okay, now that we really need to make clear for everybody, even there needs to be a cut with the artwork and say, okay, it's still fantasy, but it's different, it's more modern. And I think, yeah, from the whole concept we worked out, it's pretty a round album now. It's almost like a concept, even that it isn't.
Yeah, yeah, it's actually interesting that you mentioned the album cover, because I indeed felt that it's sort of it is very Blind Guardian and sort of still based in this fantasy world and stuff like that, but it feels very minimal sort of, which is also kind of in nowadays. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it has the same, for me, the same dynamic, the same aggression, but also leaves lots of space. And our music now is more open. It has more space. And I think that that was a really big step, not to be so super epic again and with, I don't know, 80 instruments doing tricks at the same time, but more like I really love a lot the 70s, and many of my favorite bands are the 70s rock bands, from Deep Purple to Led Zeppelin, and I really love their guitar sound. And so my basic sound now is really based on the 70s amplifiers, and that gives you more space immediately. So the vocalist is more shiny in a way, you can say. And yeah, this all this together is
Yeah, is that the like new approach in the guitars that you mentioned while recording them as well, that it's more like influenced maybe by the 70s hard rock heavy metal bands?
I would say it's, yeah, it's pretty much influenced by the 70s. And even now in our live shows, we stick to this concept, and it works out. It's much better for everybody. We are, yeah, maybe a little bit back to the basic rockish band, and yeah, not too more modern, like the American way of metal sounds, from the guitar sound, like Slipknot, Korn, Disturbed. That is that typical, very over distortion, full guitars. And I made the step in the complete other direction, and I think it's really interesting. And because my hero is Eddie Van Halen, and I was always checking out his sounds and what I like, what I don't like. And yeah, maybe that is for us a way to go. And I feel it feels good, even with the speed metal music. That feels good to have a sound like this.
Yeah, it's interesting when everyone does something and you guys go the opposite, but it still
Yeah,
really sounds like Blind Guardian, even though it's
yeah.
maybe different. So that's really cool. Now I also read a statement where Hansi said that he originally wanted the album to be heavier, but that you guys vetoed that. And I was actually wondering, like, when you guys make decisions together, is it somehow important for you to still stick to your roots somehow and not differ too much from the original sound?
No, I mean, we did some albums where we really went far away, I would say. Like Twist and a Myth was many experience we did with electronic sounds as well. And I, at that time, I wanted to sound more synthetic. I wanted to play around with sequencer stuff and crazy effects. And yeah, I like that we have this experimental spirit, and that everything is allowed, so to say. There's nothing forbidden. And if I have a great concept in my mind, then I want to realize it no matter what. But for us, it's important that an album in its complete with all the songs together, it has to be in harmony. And we started many songs in this songwriting period, but some of these songs would absolutely not fit in and would be like a break. And we didn't want this. So we only choose songs that fit together and that would tell a story if you have a nice order. And so this is important for us, that the album itself is in harmony. And we have some other songs for the future that are completely different direction. We even tried out some jazzy elements, and yeah, it's a really cool cool ideas in there. And at a certain point we will release this, but it all has to be in the right context. So yeah, still we don't need to stick to the original Blind Guardian sound, which in my opinion was the Tales of the Twilight World. That was the first definition of the real definition of Blind Guardian. But no, we can go wherever we want.
You guys also posted a video about more about Blood of the Elves, and it seems like you also had sort of a disagreement over the chorus there. But I was wondering, what would that song have sounded like if Hansi had gotten his way?
Worse, way worse. Of course. Yeah, well, I think I have a better ear for catchy and hooky melodies. Hansi is in that way more the complex, too much progressive thinking guy. I am sometimes with the instruments when it comes to the epic classical songs. Then I got too complex, and he is more calming me down and making it more listenable, let's say. But with the chorus parts, I really have the taste for the, you know, a little bit sing along. I love these choruses when they really stuck in your ear. And Hansi wanted to destroy this, and I said no way. And he wanted this because of the lyrics. He always is, for him it's very important to put the sense of the lyrics. A whole book needs to be in the chorus part, you know. and I say no, don't do this. The rhythmic is perfect, the melody is perfect. Just leave it like it is, you know. And yeah, so that is basically what happens sometimes. But most of the time we agree anyways. It's not, we are not so far away. It's not like two worlds crash into each other. But even little things can, well, make it more smooth or not.
Yeah, it's actually interesting to hear more about how you sort of complement each other, even though your specialty is maybe not vocals and his is not guitar. That's really cool. But do you think that's maybe sort of the success behind Blind Guardian as well, the way you have your dynamics sort of?
Yes, it's the, I would say it's really the chemistry between Hansi and me, and that is a love and hate chemistry. We can, but we have a way of communication that we can really talk about everything, and we bring everything on the table. It's when there is, even when we are not agreeing, yeah, we are not shy to have these discussions and even fights about something. But in the end, we are both able to take a step back and say at a certain point, okay, you were right. We both have this ability, and that makes it work, because sometimes Hansi gets what he wants, sometimes I get what I want, and sometimes we find a compromise. But I'm not such a big fan of compromises. I always think if you find a compromise, you lose something. So it's better we go 100% his way or 100% my way. That is, somehow I like that better.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we are doing this, and when we agree to something, we stick to it. There is, after we said okay, we do it that way, we go with 100%. And that is the nice thing in us. And then from that moment, let's say Hansi was against something, and then he will say, okay, let's do it your way. From that moment, there's 100% support of him for this idea. And the other way around, the same. So that makes it, in the end, great music, I think.
Now, talking more about Blood of the Elves, like I've also found out in a video that you and Marcus pushed the theme, like the Witcher theme, to Hansi. And I know he writes the lyrics mainly, but do you guys have a lot of say in the sort of inspirations where he gets his lyrics from, or the themes that go to the record?
No, I think Hansi needs to have the last word for the lyrics, because I mean, beside that he has an amazing talent for the lyrics, he needs to feel it. He's the vocalist. He needs to have the right feeling for the right words, and yeah, the one word in a chorus part can change so much, and if you put a word that the singer will not get along with, you can ruin a song. So I think it's really important that the vocalist likes what he has to perform in the end. And Hansi's lyrics, I love them so much because he has a way to write, but there's always something to read between the lines, and he's always leaving lots of space for your interpretation, for your own interpretation. And that's making the people think. He's giving some hints, maybe, okay, and then people start really to think about, okay, what's going on, what's the meaning. They go deeper into it, much deeper, and that makes the Blind Guardian music more intense in the end. Sometimes it's even that because of the lyrics, they will find the book and then read the book. I mean, that is so amazing. And yeah, Hansi has the magic there. And sometimes we talk about words, especially in the chorus parts. There's sometimes discussions because when we start songwriting, he's using dummies. He's using dummy lyrics. And in the dummy lyrics, he's choosing words that sound so good. And then in the end, he's trying to put the sense, and he's exchanging these lovely words. And it's always another fight between us, because I say, you can do everything, but you cannot take this word out of this melody. And yeah, no, but Hansi has a real good taste for this and a real good feeling what topic matches the feeling of the song, the feeling of the music. When I compose something and it's melancholic, he knows where to search, which books would fit to this kind of music. He has a really good sense for this, and most of the time he drops me some topics and he says, what do you think? Do you know this or do you know that? And then we have a talk about this. And on the other way around, when I write music, for example, Destiny, I'm a big RPG player, and that was for me inspired by a game called World of Warcraft, about an icy world something, and I told him about this and my vision about the Lich King and all this, and then he said, okay, I will not write about this because I'm not into that story, but I will come up with something that catches the same emotion, you know. And there he's really good. I'm not worrying. I don't need to interfere.
Yeah. Now, you already mentioned the guitar sound, but one of my favorite passages in the songs happens in Life Beyond the Spheres. And now that I think about it, the 70s sounds is quite clear there as well. But do you personally have any like moments on this record that you're particularly proud of, or?
Yeah, some. Well, from the guitar work, I think probably the best guitar work I ever did is in Destiny. That is, yeah, played in a very special way, which was really tricky, and I had to even to rehearse a lot to make it sound that way. And it was not really clear if I would if I would get to this sound that I had a vision, but I was not clear if it would work out or if I would completely fail. And in the end, Charlie helped a lot with the production, and yeah, we worked a lot on these guitars, and I'm really proud of this. So and of course, I'm a big supporter of innovation to bring the whole music genre forward to something else, or maybe even find a new something that was not there before. And I think with Life Beyond the Spears, um, I knew I wanted to go somewhere in a soundtrack direction, and at that time I think I was playing cyberpunk, so my inspiration was a little bit cyberpunkish. So yeah, I tried to bring in a metal soundtrack in a cyberpunk direction, more spacey than we ever did before. And Hansi grabbed that feeling, and I think now we have a song that we never did before. And yeah, not even close to that kind of genre. And I like that. That is a very innovative song, and I'm proud of this too. Yeah.
I noticed that you have the Somewhere Far Beyond tour coming up as well.
Yeah.
It's a shame that you're also not stopping anywhere else, but in Germany and like neighboring countries. But how are you looking forward to touring again?
Well, it's playing the shows is so great. It's such a feeling. I was missing this for 2 years, and yeah, because it's part of us to feel this, to get the energy of the audience. You bring this home. You need this for creativity. And now it's like refilling the batteries. The batteries were empty, and we are going on stage, and now it's like refilling the batteries. It's just amazing. But we are playing festivals since May, and as I said before, the traveling is really, yeah, right in the moment, really difficult. And from that point of view, touring is not as much fun as it was before. But from the show aspect and the interaction with the fans, it's better than ever. You can feel that everybody is was waiting for this moment again to celebrate. And yeah, we are enjoying. And now the tour that we have in Germany, we will not need airplanes anymore, so it will be much easier, and I think much more enjoyable.
Now, I heard that you're sort of planning maybe to do a tour for the God Machine in 2023.
Yes.
Is there anything planned for that, or is that just like hypothetical if everything goes right?
No, we are. It is actually our plan to do this, but we didn't have bookings so far, so I cannot say where we go or what is possible. We wanted to wait until autumn to see how the whole situation will be, because we are not fans of postponing or delaying shows in any way. When we book a show, we want to play it, and we said, okay, let's wait until the last second with the bookings to make sure there's no more restrictions or whatever. If there's another lockdown, you never can be sure about this. Then we don't need to book anything, you know. So we want to wait, and when the situation is clear and we have a green light, then we will book a huge European tour, and probably yeah, North America and America, North America, South America, and Asia as well. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope this time you have a stop in Finland too, because it's been quite a while, I believe. But anyway, our time is up. It was a pleasure to be talking to you. Do you have any last thoughts you want to share with your fans?
Well, if you have not seen us live so far, then join our shows and become part of the big party, because I think it was really fun, and the next shows for sure will be too.